In this video, I'm going to take you through some life-changing, incredible information that once you see it, you can't literally unsee it. It's going to be life-changing. Let's run the numbers. Coming into the halving, people expected that Bitcoin would go parabolic, especially with all the institutional interest. Instead, it did the exact opposite. It came down, and currently it's under somewhat of a negative price momentum. This makes it important not to buy into narratives, but just to look at price action in its natural form. The price chart is the reality. Stories are just stories, but the price is the price. That's what you pay, and that's what you get. Bitcoin is currently trading at 63,852. When you look at price action, you may feel it's very random, but it's not random. It's just moving between structural levels. I'll show you exactly what I mean by popping on the indicator. This indicator draws up all of price history, and it shows us where the tough ceilings are and the strong support levels are. For example, we've seen around that $67,000 level that Bitcoin came up, just couldn't get through it, tried again and again and again, and was rejected. If any specific chart can't get through a structural resistance level, it's going to head down to a structural support level below. If that's non-clustered, which means it's just hanging out by itself, it's very weak. As soon as you get clustered safety nets, which are structural support levels, that's an even better thing to look at inside the charts. The probability is that after it calms down through multiple safety nets, it's going to test the safety net or the ceiling above it, in this case the ceiling. We can see that Bitcoin has been under negative price momentum, but it is making a higher low at the current time. Now, what does that mean? This is a low and this is a low, but this one is slightly higher than that one. That shows a degree of buyer interaction and buyer interest. As we move into the weekend all around the world, what's going to happen on the weekends is crypto disconnects from the markets because the dollar stops trading and all the other things stop trading, such as the major indices. Crypto is on its own. A lot of people simply don't look at Bitcoin because they say, I just can't afford it. It's so expensive. So they go in for meme coins, which are just a fraction of a cent. This is the incorrect way of thinking. If Bitcoin comes up 10% and your meme comes up 10%, they both come up 10%. Of course, the upside on memes is a lot more than that it is in Bitcoin. But the downside is also a lot more as well. So you're taking on a lot of risk. You need to understand these factors. Big returns come from big risk. So let's have a look at Bitcoin. When we're looking at Bitcoin, we're looking at not for Bitcoin's sake, but for the alt's sake. What the heck do I mean by that? I'll show you. Talking about memes, if we're interested in something like Dogecoin, you can see this blue line here. That is Bitcoin's price action. When we're looking at Doge overlaid with Bitcoin, we're doing it for a very specific reason. This chart is on a 5-second basis. That means a new candle is printed every 5 seconds. Wow, fantastic. But what do we notice here? How is Bitcoin moving and how is Dogecoin moving? You can see they move in directional alignment with each other, but not exact price changes or exact relative price changes. We would expect Doge to move far more, either to the upside or to the downside than Bitcoin does. But what about other charts? Let's have a look at Binance Coin, BNB. Now this is a 1-second basis. Ooh, all sorts of stuff happening in the background. What does this mean? On a 1-second basis, Binance Coin is moving in directional alignment with BNB. Never a truer word was spoken. Also, BNB is moving in directional alignment with Bitcoin. When we look at Solana, this is on a 1-second basis. As Bitcoin is moving down, what is Solana doing? It's moving down. But you can see Bitcoin moved up, but Solana remained quite flat. This shows that there's relative weakness in Solana at the moment. But also, look at this, that relative weakness cushioned the decrease in Bitcoin's price as well. Solana could be close to a turnaround. Just understanding how the different charts move together in directional correlation with Bitcoin is really, really important. Inside the masterclass, there's a special indicator that helps us and a lot of special learning that helps us to take advantage of these movements. Let's have a look at Bitcoin compared to XRP on a mere 1 second basis. Wow, fantastic. We can see as Bitcoin is coming up, XRP is coming up as well. But XRP is known to diverge from Bitcoin. But it always, I say it all the time, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. If Bitcoin is coming down, you can bet your bottom dollar that 99% of the alts are joining it. And don't forget, this is a 1 second basis. Pretty cool stuff. Now, what does this mean for you in practical terms? If you see something like this going on with Bitcoin, you know the alts are utterly bleeding. They're bleeding out in a big way. So you want to look for structural support on Bitcoin's price chart. There's also a range of other things that you need to do, but that's a little bit beyond the scope of today's video. And if you're interested in this kind of video, please let me know in the comments. We know that there are very simple rules. If a particular price chart can't get above structural resistance, it's going back to the structural levels below, especially the confluence or congregated structural support levels. Also, we can see that right now, Bitcoin is trying to make its way up. It has a little bit of positive momentum. It hasn't broken this particular upwave just yet, but if it does, we would expect it to come down to around that 63,350 mark, consolidate and seek to make its way up if the bulls gain control. The bears want to push it under this 63,050 back to this 62,035 level. Please let me know in the comments which way do you think it will head. And a much more important question, if you're inside and trading the alts, for example meme coins or other things, this means that as Bitcoin comes down, your alts are going to bleed far, far more than Bitcoin does. But as Bitcoin finds structural support around this particular level, you would expect your alts to do a bit of a bounce. Sometimes you can take a lot of advantage of bounces like that. Remember, when you look at a specific chart, you're not just looking at that chart, you're looking at a lot of other charts as well. For example, when I look at Bitcoin, I know that Bitcoin absolutely impacts the alts like Doge and ADA, XRP, BNB. When I'm looking at the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, of course they impact the big stocks, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft. And when we look at the yields, we get an understanding as to what could be happening with the DXY and also foreign exchange pairs such as the Japanese yen, which was updated, as well as copper. So copper was updated inside the service. And also the USD JPY pair, which has just been going parabolic. To approach the market from a professional perspective, if you're inside Doge, make sure that you're looking at Bitcoin. If you're looking at Bitcoin, make sure that you're looking at total. If you're looking at Bitcoin and total, make sure that you're looking at the stock market. Now, why would you do that? A lot of people aren't into the stock market at all. They're into crypto. It's important to look at the stock market because that blue line there, this is the S&P 500. That blue line is Bitcoin. As the stock market is going up, what's Bitcoin doing? It's going up. Therefore, what are the alts doing? They're going up. But if Bitcoin and the stock market starts to come down, what are the alts doing? They're starting to bleed. If Bitcoin comes up, that could foretell that the main markets are going to put in a bit of a bounce. And if we get follow through inside the main markets, even if Bitcoin comes down, that's probably something due to specific crypto news, such as the SEC or the FBI or the DOJ and all those fun things that the banking sector does. It's also really good to keep your eye on the Forex pairs. If, for example, you see the DXY starting to come down, you would expect positive price momentum in Bitcoin. If you expect positive price momentum in Bitcoin, guess what? Your alts are going to party. But if the DXY comes up, expect negative price momentum on Bitcoin and, of course, the alts. Being inside financial markets means that you need to look far and wide. A lot of people, when they just start, they're going to only look at the chart that they're putting money into. This is an absolute guaranteed way to lose money. For example, you put your money into Doge and Bitcoin is under structure and it's going to sell off hard. That means that Doge will bleed, and it will bleed substantially. And of course, the better you get, the more charts that you can look at. You can look at the DXY versus Bitcoin. You can look at the major indices. And don't forget that the sub-indices, like the individual stocks, confirm what's happening inside the major indices as well. There's a lot to look at. It's not simple, but it's doable. The intercorrelations and interdependencies are so incredibly important. Just being aware of them places you in the top 5%, and that's where you want to be because you don't want to lose money. And the better that you get, you'll look across all the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 charts, especially the structural levels, because as I showed with Bitcoin, structure is everything. Structural levels determine the price waves. A lot of people don't know why price moves as it does. It moves because of structure. It's that simple and that complex. With the Bitcoin Hong Kong ETFs coming online, we would expect positive price momentum inside the crypto industry, because if Bitcoin's going up, guess where your beloved alts are going? Yeah, they're going up for the ride as well. Another thing to note is any time that you can get Bitcoin for a cheaper price, it's well worth it. As price is always moving between structural levels, coming up and down between structure, even if it's in an uptrend or if it's in a downtrend, it will be moving between structural levels. Always bear this in mind. And hopefully that you've seen now that Bitcoin is associated with the alts on a per second basis. That's kind of something that you can't unsee. Always remember that because price is moving in a wave, you must have 3 simultaneous strategies: a down strategy, a neutral strategy, and an up strategy. A lot of people, when they get into the market, they believe they're bought at the bottom and it can only go up. So when people say, how do you handle a trade that goes against you? They're saying, I bought at the bottom, or so I thought, but then it proceeded to go in the opposite direction. That just means that that particular person didn't have a down strategy. They thought they were buying the bottom, so why have it? It's at the bottom already, or so they thought. But that's not the case, because price is always moving in a wave, and crypto is especially volatile. You can get long wicks down and long wicks back up as the shorts and the longs liquidate each other. True, investing and trading is not about what you get, but it's who you become as a human being. Believing in abundance is incredibly important. Know that the universe wants you to succeed. Every day you can show kindness, integrity, and gratitude, because you're not in competition with anybody else. You're in competition with only one person, you, to be the best person that you can possibly be. Because when you're the best that you can be, you're just coming from a position of power and knowing that opportunities in life reset daily. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Yesterday is gone. Today is a completely new day. A lot of people, unfortunately, by their parents and society, are told that they're not worthy. You are worthy. Only you can be you in this entire global planet of in excess of 7 billion people. You were designed for good and not for bad, and that's something to always bear in mind. That's why we show kindness, integrity, and gratitude all the time, because what you sow, you reap. If you're going through a life pullback, please understand that that's redirecting you and making you gain strength for your next life rally. Always be dedicated and committed, knowing that you either win or learn, and never blame. Blame is the most powerful, problematic emotion in existence in society today. Blame makes people entitled. Blame just makes people utterly ignorant. When you blame, you cannot learn. When you cannot learn, you cannot progress. And blame is also incredibly disempowering. When we turn around and blame anybody else, we're basically saying that that external party holds the power over the changes in your life. That's simply not the case. That's rubbish. Only you can change your mind at any time. So empower yourself every time you can by saying, I win or learn, and that's it. You never blame. Life is always giving you lessons, and those lessons can be converted and solved with positive excellence. Positive excellence is the key to a beautiful life. Showing kindness to yourself is the vital first step to that. A lot of people are not kind to themselves. They're very unkind, and therefore they don't have inner peace and they don't have outer peace. If you don't have inner peace and outer peace, it's really hard to be profitable. Because the market's always moving in waves, you'll externalize the problem and cease to learn. That's why we must respect the market, and you must forgive yourself for any losses or errors. It's really important. Just focus on learning. That takes a lot of courage, but with persistence and commitment, you'll do incredibly well, and you'll feel a weight lifting off your shoulders. Unfortunately, the world is full of people with a lack of integrity, loyalty, and decency. They'll literally do anything they can to progress, even if it means burying other people. For anybody that's been in the crypto market for the past couple of years, you'll know that all of these people who lacked integrity, loyalty, and decency are pretty much behind bars at the current time. Integrity and decency are your get out of jail card free. Unbelievably so. With integrity, you will not do the wrong thing by another person. With decency, you won't do the wrong thing by people you don't even know. You can see why solving our problems with all of these components of positive excellence is so incredibly important, because life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You're going to be around, hopefully, for many, many years to come. And guarding your emotional state is so incredibly important. A lot of people experience depression and a lot of anxiety. You can get through this by being kind to yourself. A lot of people carry a tremendous amount of pain from the past. People have been so unkind to them, they just think it's natural to be unkind to themselves and therefore unkind to other people. This is no way to live, because when we're unkind to other people, we lack integrity, we lack loyalty, we lack decency, and all of that sets us up for a spectacular fall in life. We don't need to do this. You can see that kindness is the starting point of all profitability. Not just all profitability in life, but sustainable fulfillment, meaning happiness, and success. It's just a good thing to remember as we enter into the weekend. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now. Oh, you're still here. If you're still here, you might like to leave a comment on something like kindness, just to show that you've made it this far. You're awesome, and Kate and I are so grateful and appreciative that you're joining us on this journey. Okay, have a great weekend, and bye for now.